Republican political strategist Roger Stone, and from our New York Bureau, pollster Lou Harris. Lou, starting with you, do people really care about the federal deficit?
Well, Bernie, one thing you can be sure of on this day of all days, that I dare say you'll be hard put to find anybody out there who's paying their taxes saying, you know, I wish I could pay more in order to reduce the national debt or the federal deficit. Actually, you go out and poll on it, and 7 out of every 10 do say a very serious problem facing this country is the continuing deficit. And yet, when you press people on it, you'll find they want everybody else to sacrifice to pay off the debt or to reduce the deficit, except their own. They worry about their own Social Security, their unemployment compensation benefits being extended, you name it. A business wants protection or a subsidy, then forget how serious the federal deficit is.
Roger Stone, jump in here with your view, please.
Well, I don't think people vote on the deficit. I think people vote on economic issues that touch their lives. Unemployment, the ability to get a college loan or a car loan, taxes. Those are the economic issues that people vote on. The deficit, it's true, as Lou says, people say in the polls that it concerns them, but they really vote on the economic issues that affect their lives.
Well, let's be very blunt. Do the politicians in Washington think that the American voters are dumb when it comes to the federal deficit?
I don't think they think they're dumb, but I do think that there's no evidence that there's a connection between the deficit and the strength of the economy. We had a huge deficit in 1984, but people voted overwhelmingly to re-elect Reagan because the economy was growing. The answer is growth. People want to see economic growth. If they're paying low taxes, if there are jobs, if loans are easy to come by, if credit terms are reasonable, if there's access to capital, then frankly you'd have a strong economy and politicians like George Bush would get reelected. The size of this abstract number in Washington really doesn't move voters.
Bernie, can I get into the act here?
Indeed, sir.
Let me say, I think that this issue has changed and changed rather drastically. When Ronald Reagan came into office, he could get up and say, the Democrats want to tax, 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 spend, spend, spend. This was a very effective issue for the Republicans. But after 12 years now, and all the polls we've done over the last few years, what do you find? You find that people say, on the federal deficit, we don't think the Republicans were believable. After all, you've had, in the 12 years that they've been in power now, since 1980, what? The federal deficit has gone up more than the whole history of the Republic before. As a consequence, and I think this is significant, the Republicans have lost credibility when they try to say the Democrats are the ones to blame on the deficit.
What about that, Roger?
The Democrats have little credibility either on it, but the issue isn't working for the Republicans.
Well, the voters are more sophisticated than that. The voters know that the Democrats control both houses of Congress. The voters know, and they're certainly going to know after this campaign, that every budget that Ronald Reagan or George Bush have sent to Capitol Hill have come back bigger, not smaller, than they sent it up there. I don't think the Democrats have any great partisan advantage on the size of the deficit. But more importantly, again, growth, I think, is the central issue here. There'd be no discussion of spending or the deficit if taxes are low and jobs are plentiful and credit is available. That's, I think, got to be the goal for the country.
Well, I just don't understand why, if deficits are continually high and they're coming out of the purses and the pocketbooks of American voters, why they are not upset about it and why it's not an issue. Maybe I'm missing something.
Bernie, there is a long-term thing which is going on. People, I'll tell you where people get excited about this. When you say, do you think the continuing federal deficit is going to hurt the chances of your kids making out as well as you did, you can get over 6 in 10 who'll say, no, that's a major contributor to making the standard of living for my kids go down permanently and maybe my own.
Okay, and
so
Roger?
That burns deep.
Roger, quickly, your last thought on
Well,
this.
we have a paradox here. There's no question that voters are concerned about spending and they're concerned about the deficit. But in the very next breath, they will tell you, we want to see more money spent for the senior citizens, more money spent on education, more money spent on highways.
Okay. Thank you very much. Roger Stone in Washington, Lou Harris in New York. Gentlemen, thank you. Inside Politics 92 will continue in a moment.